The ring on my finger still gleamed, a constant, mocking reminder of the promises I made to Mark. It was a beautiful ring, a perfect symbol for what was supposed to be a perfect life. From the outside, we had it all. A cozy house in the suburbs, to cars in the driveway, and a decade of shared memories. But lately, the silence in our home had become deafening, each unspoken word a brick in the wall growing between us. It wasn't one big dramatic event that led us here. It was a slow erosion, a series of tiny paper cuts to the heart. Mark was a good man, steady and reliable, but he'd become predictable. Our conversations revolved around bills, work schedules, and what to have for dinner. The passion, the laughter, the spark that once made my heart race had fizzled out, replaced by a comfortable yet soul-crushing routine. I felt more like his roommate than his wife. I was lonely, but I was lonely right next to him. Then, Daniel walked into my life. It was at a local art fair, a place I'd gone to escape the quiet of my own home. He was a potter, his hands covered in clay, his eyes crinkling at the corners when he smiled. He didn't just look at my paintings, he saw them. He asked about my inspiration, my technique, the dreams I'd packed away in the attic of my mind. For the first time in years, someone saw me, not just Mark's wife or the woman who lived at number 24. Our conversations started innocently. Coffee after the fair turned into long emails, which turned into lunches. With Daniel, I felt alive again. He made me laugh, a deep, genuine laugh that I thought I'd forgotten how to produce. He'd send me photos of his latest pottery creations, and I'd send him sketches of my next painting. We were building a world, just the two of us, a vibrant, colorful world that stood in stark contrast to the grayscale existence I shared with Mark. I knew it was wrong. Every time my phone buzzed with a message from Daniel, a wave of guilt washed over me, followed by an irresistible thrill. I was living a double life. At home, I was the dutiful wife, making dinner, talking about Mark's day at the office. But in my mind, and in those stolen moments, I was with Daniel. He was the one I shared my hopes and fears with. He was the one who made my heart pound. The wedding ring still shined on my finger, but my heart had already packed its bags and moved in with him. The guilt was a constant companion. I'd look at Mark, watching TV on the sofa, completely oblivious, and my stomach would clench. He didn't deserve this. He was a kind man who had given me a stable life, but was stability enough? Was it worth sacrificing the feeling of being truly seen, truly heard? I felt trapped between the life I had and the life I craved, between the man I had promised forever to, and the man who made me feel like forever was just beginning. One evening, Mark came home with flowers. Just because, he said with a tired smile, they were beautiful, but they felt like a bandage on a gaping wound. We ate dinner in near silence, the unspoken tension hanging heavy in the air. Later that night, as I lay in bed next to him, my phone lit up with a text from Daniel. Thinking of you. Saw a sunset that was the exact color you use in your paintings. A single tear rolled down my cheek and soaked into the pillow. I was breaking my own heart, and Mark's too, and I had no idea how to stop. The breaking point came on a rainy Tuesday. I was supposed to be at a yoga class, but I was with Daniel in his studio. The smell of wet clay and turpentine filled the air. He was showing me how to work the potter's wheel, his hands gently guiding mine. In that moment, surrounded by his art and his presence, the line I had been walking so carefully finally disappeared. He leaned in and kissed me. It wasn't a frantic, passionate kiss, but a slow, gentle one that felt like coming home. When I drove back to my actual home that evening, the guilt was unbearable. I walked in and saw Mark setting the table for two. He'd cooked my favorite meal. He looked up and smiled, and in his eyes, I saw 10 years of shared history, of trust, of a life we had built together. And I knew, with a gut-wrenching certainty, that I had shattered it all. The shine of my wedding ring seemed to dim under the weight of my secret. It was a beautiful piece of metal, but it couldn't hold a heart that had already found a new home. I knew I couldn't keep living this lie. It wasn't fair to Mark, to Daniel, or to myself, standing there in the doorway, with the aroma of Mark's cooking filling the air. I realized the hardest conversation of my life was about to begin. The path ahead was uncertain and filled with pain, but the charade had to end. The ring on my finger was a symbol of a promise, and it was time to be honest about the fact that it was a promise I had already broken. Sometimes, the most difficult truths are the ones we have to tell ourselves first. This experience taught me so much about loneliness within a relationship and the importance of communication. It's a reminder that if you feel unheard or unseen, it's crucial to talk about it before seeking validation elsewhere. If you're going through a tough time in your own relationship, please know that help is available. Talking to a therapist or a relationship counselor can make a world of difference. You don't have to navigate these feelings alone. Thank you for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, please consider liking and subscribing for more real-life stories. Take care.